I love fish curry, particularly when it's really quick to make. This is my go-to fish curry at the moment. All you need is a delicious curry paste, and I like to use yellow curry paste and some coconut milk in your pantry and you're right to go. Of course, some fresh fish too. So in a saute pan, roughly around this size, I'm going to add some oil. I'm just using some extra virgin olive oil, about a tablespoon. And just like any good curry, we need to start with the holy trinity, some garlic, 1 onion, and we're just going to roughly slice the onion. And we're going to soften these 3 together. The third, of course, is turmeric, and I like a good hit of turmeric in this recipe. The reason I like that is because the yellow curry paste, the Thai yellow curry paste, has a good hit of turmeric in it. This really makes this such a special curry. So into the oil, we'll start with our onions and just break them up. We don't want to get too much colour on our onions, we just want to soften them. So we'll just give them a toss in the oil. We'll add some garlic, 3 cloves of garlic that I've finely chopped. And the ginger, just going to use a fine grater to grate that. So we need about 3 centimetres worth or a thumb worth of ginger. This is a lovely young ginger, so you can see how easy it is to grate. It's not as fibrous as an older piece of ginger. Love the smell of that. And in it goes. We'll give that a stir. And I'll season this with some salt and just let that soften for a moment. So let's add some of our yellow curry paste. Now this yellow curry paste also has curry powder in it, which gives it a really nice depth of flavour too. A few tablespoons of that. And just like any other curry paste, you don't want to add the coconut milk straight away. You want to toast it off to cook off the rawness from the curry paste. And straight away, as soon as it hits the heat, you can smell it, very fragrant. And as it starts to stick to the pan, that's a key indication that it's ready for the coconut milk. So 400 mils of coconut milk. And just stir that in and allow it to bubble away. You'll see that it starts to become quite thick, so if you like, you can add some water, but I do recommend you doing this after you add the fish because the fish will add some liquid. Speaking of fish, we can add this now. I'm using some beautiful blue eye. I like this because it's a firm-fleshed fish. You could also use some kingfish, or if you really want to go out, mix it up, add different varieties of seafood like prawns and scallops, even mussels work a treat. So in it goes. We want about 500 grams of fish, and I've cut it into 3 centimetre pieces so it's nice and chunky. And look at those colours. I just love how that yellow curry paste stains the fish. A little salt now. The lid goes on, and this is going to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes or until the fish is just cooked. To go with this, I'm going to make a salsa. Very simple, fresh flavours. Cucumber, so 1 cucumber. I've removed the seeds because I don't want it to be watery, and I've left the skin on because there's loads of flavour in cucumber skin. Some tomatoes, I've also taken the seeds out. We just want the flesh for this, and we'll finely chop the tomatoes. You can add some onion to this, all different varieties of herbs, but the point of this is to really show you how to make a midweek fish curry. It doesn't have to be fancy, it can be as simple as this. In it goes. Some lime. Now, I don't want to use just the lime juice. There's loads of flavour in the lime peel. So we're going to just grate that straight into the bowl. And some of the juice. Good squeeze of that. And some coriander. Just pick that straight into the bowl. Quick salsa, that's all there is to it. The last thing I need to add to this is, of course, some salt. So a pinch of salt. Give that a toss. I'll get some rice ready, and we're almost ready to plate this gorgeous fish curry up. The fish curry is ready. Oh, it smells fantastic. Look at that vibrant colour. And to serve this up, you can leave it in the pan or you can dress it the way that I'm going to do it. So lovely big chunks of our blue eye here. And that sauce is just the perfect consistency. I like a lot of sauce for this recipe, so don't be stingy with it. Some coconut milk. If you've got some extra coconut milk, just drizzle it over the top for that lovely effect, like the two tones of colours. And the salsa that we made, you could serve it on the side. I'm very happy with sprinkling that over the top with that coriander. I just love the pop of colours. Very happy dish, this one. A little more. And if you do have some extra coriander on the top, serve that with some extra lime and some rice. And I am happy as Larry. A gorgeous fish curry made in no time at all. When I'm looking for a fast midweek dinner, I need it to be speedy, I need it to be nutritious, and I also need it to have minimal ingredients. So I always turn to this chickpea curry. What makes it so special is the vegetable curry paste that I'm using. It's full of natural ingredients like lemongrass, galangal, and turmeric. So what I've just been doing is frying off some onion and garlic. You want it to be slightly soft. And then in with 1 tablespoon of this lovely aromatic curry paste. This one is Indonesian style. So 1 to 2 tablespoons. And like all good curry paste, you need to fry it off first. So we'll just give that a moment. And once it just starts to split, we can add the chickpeas. Now I use 1 can of cooked chickpeas. That's about 400 grams. I've rinsed them and drained them really well. So in they go, and that's going to give us some lovely body. To give this a rich flavour, some tomatoes. I've got a can of tomatoes, crushed tomatoes. Give that a stir and just let that reduce for a moment until it becomes quite thick and rich. Ideally, we want to cook off those tomatoes so they're not raw. And that's looking really good. Okay, in with the coconut milk to give it a lovely creamy texture. So we'll pour that in. And this is my little trick, is to get the back of the fork to crush some of those chickpeas. By doing that, we're going to get an extra creamy consistency. Lid goes on, and I'll cook that for about 3 to 4 minutes while I chop some kale. And the kale just goes in at the very last minute to wilt. All right, this curry smells good. It's ready to go. I've just lightly wilted that kale. You could also use some spinach or other greens like broccoli. And I'm going to spoon this over some jasmine rice, a generous spoonful of the chickpeas, the kale, and lots of that creamy, luscious sauce. To finish it off, I like a sprinkling of chilli because the Indonesian vegetable curry paste that I used actually is quite mild, so it's good for the whole family. And a sprinkle of crispy fried shallots. Midweek dinner done in under 30 minutes, vegetarian, full of lovely flavours. Everyone's going to love that one. Here's a quick tofu and noodle soup. Now we need to start with a full flavoured soup base. So I'm going to be using 2 stock cubes, chicken stock cubes, to a few litres of water. Now these chicken stock cubes have no added MSG, no colourings or artificial flavours, and you don't even need to add any salt to this because it's seasoned enough. So we're just going to crumble in our stock cubes to some rapidly boiling water here, and that will be the simple base to our soup. And another one. Again, just crumbling that through your fingers and you'll see it dissolve and form that chicken soup. Now to add some Japanese inspired flavours, I'll add some mirin along with some sugar, a pinch of sugar, and some sake. And this is where you can get creative. You can add some chicken to it. You could add any ingredients you like. I'm using tofu because I love how the tofu absorbs the flavour of the soup. So I'll grab a knife and cut this tofu into a few cubes. Just little cubes. And then we'll add that to our soup base. To that, some shiitake mushrooms, and I'll cut them in half and in quarters. And some cabbage. I'm just using some Chinese cabbage. These stalks we usually throw out, but they're full of flavour. So we'll just cut them into smaller bits. And in they go. We're just blanching them very quickly. To serve this soup up, grab a bowl, some noodles of your choice. I'm using some thin egg noodles. We'll place them into a bowl. And we'll top it with our delicious soup. See, I told you it was very quick. In with our cabbage and our mushrooms and tofu. And then all of this fragrant broth. We want a generous amount just to cover everything. There we go. To finish this off, a little egg that's been soft boiled. Cut that straight down the centre and have a look at that. Nice and gooey. One there. And then the other one there. And that is the quickest soup you can make. As long as you got that base soup, you can add flavours to it. This is really, really comforting on a cold winter's day. Some of my favourite stir fries are the ones that have minimal ingredients but maximum flavour. This is my chicken and broccoli stir fry. And what makes this so special is the sauce combination. Now this is one that I turn to when I'm making a quick dinner for 2 people. And most of these ingredients I already have in my pantry, like oyster sauce, soy sauce and sesame oil. So we'll start with our chicken. I'm using 1 chicken breast and I've just cut it into super thin slices. That's just going to help this cook really fast. So I've been preheating my wok. I'm using some macadamia oil, but you could use other types of oil like peanut oil, and you can see how that's smoking. Fantastic. So in with our chicken, and we're just going to toss that around. And once you've separated them, just leave them for a moment so they get that caramelization. While that's frying, I'll just quickly prepare broccolini. This is 1 bunch of broccolini, and I'm just going to cut them into smaller bite-sized pieces, just like that, okay? I've also prepared some ginger and garlic. Okay, let's give that a quick toss. Fantastic, happy with that. It's almost cooked, so we can take it out of the wok and place it into a bowl. And then we'll place the wok back on the heat. All right, in with a little more of that macadamia oil. We can start frying up our ginger and garlic. And we'll just toss that for a moment. And I'll also add my broccolini. So we do need to cook that for about a minute. Okay, while that's cooking, let's get on to our very quick sauce. So in a bowl, I like to combine 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. It has a beautiful savoury flavour to it. So we're just going to roughly measure that out. 2 tablespoons. I also love it because it's thick, so it's going to give us a really nice glossy sauce. To that, I'll add a tablespoon of light soy sauce. And I love the flavour of sesame oil, so a few good drizzles of the sesame oil. And to balance out the sweetness, a little palm sugar. Okay, let's give that a quick stir. I'll also prepare a cornflour slurry, and this is going to thicken up the sauce right at the end. So some water just mixed with a little corn flour, and we'll get that ready too. Great, let's have a look at our broccolini. We'll give that a toss. You can see that the pan's nicely caramelised on the base, which is great because it's going to lift as soon as I add the sauce. Okay, now that that's wilted down slightly, let's add our chicken. We'll just return that. And any juices from the bowl, we want that to evaporate. And then we can add our sauce. So in with our delicious oyster sauce mixture and just coat everything in the sauce. Now to finish this off, we'll add our cornflour slurry. And if you want a little bit of heat in your stir fry, some chili oil or some chili crunch, totally optional. I want a bit of heat into it, so we'll add that. And a final toss. And let's turn the heat off. It's fantastic. Okay, plate this up. Just gonna pile it into a big generous bowl. And I would serve this with some steamed jasmine rice, or if you like, you could toss some Hokkien noodles through the dish right at the end. But I really wanted to show you how simple it is with just a few ingredients. As long as you've got those simple sauces that are used all the time in stir fries, oyster sauce, soy sauce, sesame oil, that's a fantastic base to make any type of stir fry. Even the simple ones are gonna taste perfect. I hate wasting and throwing out food. So at the end of the week, when I look in the fridge, I love to create a dish with what I have left. Here, I've got a little bit of leftover sour cream, some smoked salmon, and some spinach. And with these 3 core ingredients, you can make the most delicious pasta. So I'm just going to turn a big pot of water on. We'll get our pasta on. The best thing about this is it also takes no time at all to cook. So once that's boiling, a good pinch of salt goes in there. You can use any type of pasta for this. I'm using some elbows, and into the water it goes. Give that a quick stir, just so they don't stick. And in the time that this pasta is going to cook, I'm going to make a delicious spinach and salmon sauce. So into a pan, I'll add a glug of olive oil, and then in with 2 handfuls of spinach. Now, if I had some garlic, of course you could add it at this stage. Some capers would be really nice, but the whole point of this is to show you just need minimal ingredients to create something quite delicious. So we just want that to wilt down. It takes no time at all. And when you've got spinach that's been in the fridge for a week and it's looking a little bit sad, don't throw it out. It's the perfect way to use it up by frying it off just like this, because it's still perfectly good. And as soon as that's completely wilted, I'm going to take it out of the pan. Pop it onto your board. And because I want this spinach to transform and turn into this vibrant green sauce, we need to finely chop it. So just with a knife, finely chop that and then return it to the pan. And now I can add my leftover sour cream. And sour cream, I guess you'd usually associate it with dolloping on Mexican food, but it makes such great sauces. It's got that really nice tanginess. And this cream is totally interchangeable. So if you've got some leftover cooking cream, you can use it for this dish. Thickened cream also works well, and creme fraiche. So we'll mix that through and see how that melts away into a delicious sauce. Fantastic. I will season this with a pinch of salt and some freshly cracked pepper. And at this stage, we can add the zest of 1 lemon to really give it that zesty flavour. So in that goes. Now I'm going to chop up my leftover smoked salmon, and that can also go in. All right, time to check our pasta. We want it to be al dente. Let's have a feel. Yep, perfect. And do allow some of that starchy water to drizzle in to this dish, because that's going to help emulsify our sauce. We want to work quite fast here because I don't want that salmon to overcook. I'll add some Parmesan cheese and we'll just toss everything together. Agitate the pan, keep tossing 3 or 4 times. And we're ready to plate up. Big spoon. And I love using little short pasta like this because all of that lovely cream is going to go through those holes, so you get optimum amount of sauce. A little extra cream and the salmon over the top. Oh, look at that. Dinner, 15 minutes, that's all it takes. Using what we have at home. I hate wastage, so if you've got a little bit of cream, use it up for a delicious pasta just like this.